Welcome to EDNews-TV. I'm your host, Ibrahim Azizov, and in today's powerful episode, we will focus on President Donald Trump and his second term in office. Joining us is the former co-chair of the OCE MIS group, former U.S. Ambassador to Azerbaijan, Matthew Bryza. Mr. Matthew, thank you for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much, Mr. Zima.
Mr. Matthew, in your opinion, what personal or political qualities made Donald Trump appealing to a significant portion of the American electorate? What were the key shortcomings of his procedures that created space for this rise?
Sure. Donald Trump is an extraordinary politician. You have to remember that he was already a famous person, a celebrity in the United States, due to decades of his flashy businesses like airline and all sorts of other things that got him a lot of attention. Then he was the star of television shows, reality television shows. And so before he ever joined politics, he was already very much liked by some people. And his time on television made him into like a showman, somebody who's performing all the time. And it helped him understand how to connect with audiences. So he connected, in particular during his first campaign, with a lot of white men of, let's say, in their 30s or 40s or 50s, older white men as well, who had felt that globalization had passed them by and that jobs were going to people in other countries, and they were losing their own jobs. No other American politician at that time understood that. And the second time he got elected, he understood what neither Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris, his opponents, nor anyone in the Democratic Party was understanding at the time, which was similarly that even though the Biden administration looked at the statistics of the U.S. economy and said it was performing well, the vast majority of Americans didn't feel that they were doing well economically. They were worried about prices increasing, so inflation, and they just had a sense that it was very difficult for them to manage their economic affairs.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump understood that. He spoke about it all the time, and he did it in a way, maybe the most important point is where he sounds like a normal person. Even though he's a very wealthy man, when he speaks, he sounds like a normal person, and he uses simple language and really knows how to connect to people's emotions. So it's not so much that other candidates were failing in their job. It's that there is no one else like Donald Trump.
What was the Donald Trump trying to show the world with his tariff policy?
He's not trying to necessarily show the world anything. He's trying to fight for what he believes are, number one, fairer or more just trading relationships. Is the first thing. He looks at foreign relations in a very simple way. A country is friendly if the United States sells more products to that country than the United States buys from that country. In other words, if a country has a positive trade balance if the United States has a positive trade balance with another country, he likes that country. If the United States is buying more from a country than it's selling, he considers that country to be a foe or to be unfriendly. And that includes our traditional allies, be they in NATO or Japan or South Korea or Mexico or Canada. So one thing he wants to do is make sure, from his perspective, that U.S. exports get fair treatment in other markets. But he also wants to bring manufacturing back to the United States. So he wants goods imported from other countries to be more expensive than goods that are produced in the United States, so that there will be more investment in manufacturing and in factories in the United States. And the third thing and final thing he's trying to achieve with the tariffs is to raise money for the federal government by charging a tax on goods that are imported and sold in the United States, which is what a tariff is.
How does the U.S. stopping humanitarian aid through the World Health Organization and some UN agencies affect its geopolitical position?
Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, the United States, first of all, the World Health Organization is administrative and does research, and it's not the part of the United Nations that delivers food assistance. But nonetheless, he has reduced the U.S. efforts to deliver humanitarian aid, also by ending or eliminating the U.S. Agency for International Development. And so I personally believe that those sorts of measures will lead to the weakening of U.S., as we say, soft power or U.S. influence around the world.
Yeah.
Countries have looked to the United States for decades as a good country, as a country that helps people, as a country that is on the side of justice. Not everybody looks at the U.S. that way, but those who welcome the humanitarian aid do. And so if you take away that U.S. humanitarian assistance, I think you really risk hurting the U.S.'s positive reputation in many countries around the world.
Do you think there is a real chance that nuclear talks between the US and Iran could came to a conclusion?
Yes, I do. I think there's a chance. They will be difficult.
Chance?
Yeah, it's artificial to pick a number, but it's not zero, and it's not for certain. It's very difficult for Iran to agree to what the president had demanded, which is that Iran ends all of its enrichment of radioactive fuel or nuclear fuel. But now that President Trump has shown Iran that the U.S. can destroy much of its nuclear capability, and now that Israel has shown that it can assassinate, it can kill many of Azerbaijan's military leaders and nuclear scientists, I think now it's more likely that the Iranian leadership will find that they need to even reach an agreement with the U.S. that includes ending nuclear enrichment. The supreme leader, Khamenei, has only emerged from hiding just a couple of days ago after hiding away since the Israeli attacks in the middle of, I guess, June. So they're nervous. The leaders in Iran are nervous, and President Trump has made clear he does not want to destroy Iran. He would like, as he says, I want to make Iran great again or help Iran be great again. So he very much wants an agreement because he would like to get a Nobel Peace Prize. And so he's committed to finding an agreement with Iran. He really wants to. He used military force as a diplomatic tool to change the political calculations of the Iranian leadership. And so far, he's been successful in changing their calculations. It's just not clear if the Iranian leadership is willing to go as far as President Trump demands in ending nuclear enrichment.
By bombing Iranian territory and clearly supporting Israel in its conflict with Iran, what did the U.S. gain and what did it lose?
Well, I just explained what the U.S. gained, right? It gained the opportunity for successful nuclear negotiations with Iran, though they're probably most likely to fail. What the U.S. lost, I don't think it lost anything. I mean, I think it showed the world that the U.S. military is more capable than any military anywhere in history, that it can do amazing things that no other military in the world can. There is no other country in the world that has the type of weapons that destroyed those underground nuclear facilities in Iran. Trump also showed that if you push the U.S. too far, it will maybe use military force. So I think the U.S. really gained from this, and the people who reject the U.S.'s use of military force already dislike Donald Trump and the United States. So I really don't see any losses. I think this was a very positive development.
When Trump first became president, he talked about bringing Greenland and even Canada closer to the U.S. Are any of those ideas still being considered or followed today?
The question maybe is a little bit inaccurate. What he said when he became president the second time is that he wants Canada to become a 51st state of the United States. So he wants to take over Canada. On Mexico, he's demanding that Mexico stop the flow of the drug fentanyl into the United States, and he's threatened to do what he's doing now, which is place 30% tariffs on Mexico unless it does more to fight fentanyl. So as far as Canada, though, becoming the 51st state, he hasn't talked about that so much lately. But I think, based on the people I know that work with him in Washington, he's serious. He's serious about wanting to annex Greenland, to take over Greenland, which is the territory of a sovereign NATO member state, Denmark, that the U.S. has an obligation to protect if Denmark, is ever attacked by a foreign country. And he's also said and continues to say the U.S. should retake control of the Panama Canal. So I think those ideas are still in his head. But from my perspective, fortunately, there's been no action taken in those directions, at least the ones that don't involve tariffs.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Thank you.
That was my last question. for you.
Great
For
to be
now.
with you. Thank you
you.
for your thoughtful questions. Bye-bye.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye bye.